Okay. Stream. All right, how's everybody doing today? Happy Monday. Looks like we got a few people here right away. Hey, Scotty, how are you, my man? Hopefully you're having a good day. Welcome in. Happy video game day. Hey, G, how are you, man? Welcome to Jan's stream. Yeah, that's... you got a doctor's appointment yet, man? Been sick for a while. You need to, you know, not to tell you what to do, but you totally need to take care of yourself, you know? Not to tell you what to do, but let me tell you what to do. Hey, Ripper. How are you, man? Hope you're having a good day. Oh, wow. KO whiffed on everything, even with hitting the blast gem and blowing up that third of the board. Ahoy, Bizzo! You should really think about going in, G. Hello, Fishy. How are you, buddy? It looks like I managed to actually connect something with KO now. Not that I care, because I'm not playing for leaderboards or anything. What you got going on next Tuesday? McLovin, how are you and Sharn? Welcome in, buddy. Hey, Sib, how are you? Having an ultraviolet monster. It's purple. They're very grapey. They're pretty good. If you like grape flavor. Yum. A physical for cheap insurance? Oh. Bend over, or, yeah, what is it? Turn your head and cough, Flo. Enjoy. Robert Buchanan, how are you? I do like these weekly events that we've been having. I definitely like them. It feels like a lot of extra stuff. It's making me do my stip tours, which is great because I'm getting closer to Taker. You know, because I've been lazy, literally lazy on them since Grand Tournament, which has been a long time. Yeah, hello. Hey, Mid Carter, how are you, buddy? Mango Loco Punch Monster. I have to drink the sugar-free stuff. Well, I don't have to. It's just smart to, being a diabetic and all. So I drink the Ultra versions. Ultra Red is my favorite, but it's way more expensive on Amazon. It's like $45 for a case of 24. When the like the purple and the Fiesta, which has kind of a mango flavor, are much cheaper, like $33. So I usually don't buy my favorite for that reason, because I'm kind of cheap. You know? Hey, Crazy Dina, how are you? Ken Adams, I used to love Ultra White, and then the job I worked at, that's the only flavor they had, and I had it like every day for like 3 years, and then I started to hate it. Zandel, what's up? How are you? How's the Asylum? If you guys didn't know, Zandel, professional wrestler, who defeated the Hurricane, who defeated The Rock, who defeated Hogan, who defeated Ric Flair. Ergo, Zandel is better than Rock, Hogan, and Flair. Donjay, what is up, my man? My brother from another mother, Donjay, is here. Crazy Dina is here. So all the crazies going on. Oh, Handsome Rob, this is the official Champs channel. You can't sub at all. I do appreciate it, though. Ultra Green isn't bad. The Paradise one, it's not bad. I like the orange one, too, Ultra Sunrise. Fair enough, G. I mean, if you're gonna ask me, my favorite My actual favorite would be Monster Import, but those have way too much sugar, so I don't drink them. But that would be my actual favorite, is the Monster Imports. They're so good. And the can is cool. But now, right on, Ripper. What do you guys think we're going to get this week? I'm assuming we're going to continue the MMA theme. I definitely was hit the nail on the head with Baszler. I thought for sure we'd get a new Baszler, and we did. Who do we think we're going to get this week? I'm assuming it's a dude, so I would guess a dude. Martial arts kind of dude. I mean, Blackman would be cool if we're going to go with a new one. Yeah, I see Blackman. Peak gas, okay. If we're going the new route, which I don't know if we are or not. Severin or Blackman. Those are both good guesses. Dr. Death would be cool. Right on. Does anyone know? Right, Gersan? Tyson Fury would be awesome. I heard someone say along the same lines, Mike Tyson as well. Tyson Fury would definitely be awesome, though. 90th Lashley. Yeah, if we get two ladies this month, Sonya would be a great call, but being that we already got a lady striker, it seems like we're going to miss out on Sonya. Disagree completely, McLovin. I would definitely put him on the list of all-time greatest boxers. But that's okay. That's a story for another time. We don't need to agree on everything, McLovin. You are, after all, a pretty handsome fella. Hey, from Desip, how are you? Let's do this one. One-handed media, what's up? I mean, you're also a good dude. You have a wonderful wife. Sharn's amazing. Although, is she your wife, or are you guys just like not married yet? I can't remember. And you're generally pretty funny. And you hang out on stream all the time, or most of the time. I kind of like you. New Sheamus or Gunther? If they extend to brawling, a new Walter would be amazing. I still have trouble calling him Gunther. What's up, Lurchy? Even though I think, you know, he lost so much weight that the name change actually doesn't bother me as much as I thought it would. Fight Night Sheamus would absolutely be cool. For those of you that partake or watch both Clash at the Castle and then SmackDown, it was cool to see Sheamus get those big pops on SmackDown, to be honest. Right on, McLovin. Technically, Mrs. Mherex and I aren't married either, even though we've been together like, I think this is 15 years? I mean, I call her my wife, so... Nothing would change other than legal name on paper anyway, so... Couldn't be more committed, so... Ernest the Cat Miller in game. You guys think... What's Norman Smiley? Hey, Lee, how are you, man? Welcome in. Do you guys think we'll ever get Norman Smiley in the game, and is he under contract with anyone? Fair enough, G. Mrs. Mherex had like a 2.5-year-long divorce, so marriage kind of a dirty word for her. Right, McLovin? It's actually benefited us several times over not being married. I'm not going this Friday, Ken. Trainer at NXT? Well, that would be cool. I'd love to get a Norman Smiley in the game. Like, so, especially with Isn't Extreme Rules is coming up, right, guys? With Extreme Rules coming up, it would be really cool to get a hardcore month. And we could get Norman Smiley in the, like, the hockey outfit and stuff. With all the hockey pads, and then we could get Al Snow. How does healthcare work for us, too? I have healthcare through my job. She has healthcare through her job. We could get Crash Holly, Bob Holly, yep. Exactly, Scott. I mean, not to be a mark or anything, but a hardcore Foley of any kind would be fine. Didn't Kane have the hardcore title a bunch, too? Kane would be a cool one. A hardcore Kane. Fit Finley? Fit Finley really should be in the game. I feel like Fit Finley definitely should be in the game. Yeah, Near. That would be great. Have Norman Smiley and then have his hardcore gear. Hey, New Age, how are you? No, King, he kind of passed him by. Al Snow and then give him a headgear. For sure. Actually, this is unpopular opinion. I expect to get booed off of the stream. I actually prefer Kane to Undertaker. I always enjoyed Kane matches more. I don't know. Probably goes back to my childhood when Undertaker locked Warrior in the coffin. I didn't appreciate that very much at all. Since Rocker Shawn and Warrior were my favorites when I was a kid. Probably goes back to that, but... So, speaking of Imperium, for those of you that follow NXT, I almost didn't even recognize, that... What's-his-face? I really didn't. That, Vici was, what's-his-face? Eichmann? Or whatever his name was when he was Imperium. He wrestles almost completely different. Freaking, so strong, but like a high flyer. I was shocked, like, just the way he wrestled. Like, that dude is super talented. I mean, New Age, when I was a kid, I didn't know what Warrior was about. I don't think anyone still knows. I just knew he was excited. And so that was cool to watch. He'd run out there and probably be gassed by the time he hit the frickin' ring, you know? Terry Funk, that would be cool. I'd take a Harry Funk. Oh yeah, new Pete Dunne. Wait till they let him go back to being Pete Dunne. The transformation almost complete, right, Zandel? Yes, Donjay Fabian Eichner, that's it, thank you. Like, he wasn't really even recognizable to me. His in-ring style feels completely different. If you haven't seen it, it's worth checking out. Super, super entertaining. Are they calling him Pete yet? I mean, I know he's got his long hair back and he's breaking fingers and stuff like he used to. I knew what you meant, Crazy Dina. I was just being stupid to annoy you, sort of. A little bit, whatever you want to call it, poke at you. Karrion Kross. So I've really actually enjoyed how they've booked Karrion Kross. Dude, that's hilarious, McLovin. I love that. That's an amazing story. Oh, the Flock would be great. Billy Kidman was like one of my favorites, actually. I don't know what they're gonna do with Pete Dunne. If they'll keep him as Butch or, you know, go back to Pete Dunne. It doesn't really matter to me. I'm just glad he's wrestling like freaking Pete Dunne. You know what I mean? Like, I just like Pete Dunne, so. Triple H is doing an amazing job. Hey, Goldie, welcome in. And even though I'm not a Strowman fan, holy crap, does he look like he is in amazing shape. And I mean, obviously they lack any kind of big man like Strowman. I mean, there's no one really like Strowman. So it makes a lot of sense. Hey, Lippy, how are you? Also, I think I'll probably be streaming champs again on my channel tomorrow. And we'll go start with the guy feuders now with the new perks, like we did with the ladies. I still need to make a freaking video on that though. Let's see. Oh, thanks, Goldie. Yeah, I really like the maximum male model thing, so I'd miss that too. But I mean, he's great. LA Knight. So yeah, I heard from Zeke too. That was super. I was super happy about that. A lot of people were very worried. So. Rhonda was a dream, mid-Carter. Like, she was 5-star silver, was just wrecking, so. I've got 20 shards so far, Zandel. I got 130 to go. That is my chase this month. I'm hoping to get the web coins and find him in the web coin market. No, MMM is amazing. Are you kidding me? It's so good. How can you not love that? Really, my problem is I don't really care for China in Feud at all. Trickster Becky was great, for sure. I liked her, but I don't know why, but China always does. Are you kidding me? The whole board in trap gems, and I do that. I know a lot of people really like China, it just doesn't click for me. Wrestling is entertaining right now. Man, Super Stacy, I wish I had her. Oof. Wendy was great, assuming you have Santa Hogan 17K, which a lot of people don't. But Wendy is going to be fine. Even without perks, she'll still be good enough. But I wish I had Super Stacy. I think she's the best lady in the game. For sure. Hey, Bob, thank you for the raid. How was your stream, man? Welcome in, Raiders. Sensei, how are you? Yeah, Liv is great. The one thing I like about Liv is she is, like, pretty OP, but you can still cascade with her. And I think when you make, like, OP posters, it's good to have something built in that can go wrong. So I like that about Liv, that she'll cascade and irritate me sometimes because she's way too strong otherwise. So I do like that about Liv. Hey, Doc Holiday, how are you, man? The Mherex factor. I will show you, Marlo. I will show you. Nothing too crazy. Although, actually, that's not true. So, Santa Hogan lets your stuff go turn 1. Why is the... Did I take the... I might have taken the Titan plate off of him. Thought I had Titan plate on him. I might have moved it. Then I got JBL. This is supposed to have Titan plate build. But I don't care because I don't chase leaderboard. I would use Acrobat Steamboat in the other coach spot instead of Stacy, if I had Acrobat Steamboat. But that's the trainer, coach, blah, 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 blah. Nice, New Age. That's awesome. Yeah, so that's definitely the good part about the Shayna event, Doc Holiday, is you could get 18 of 20 milestones. That was the good part. It doesn't bother me, G, but I do appreciate it. But it doesn't bother me. If someone wants to ask you about it. But I do appreciate the courtesy there, G. Very much. But it really doesn't bother me. Yeah, so that was the good part. The milestones were good. The bad part was the milestones were pretty not good. The good part was you could get them. The bad part was they were pretty not good. Okay, so that should finish that part of this thing. Which, I like this, whatever you call it, this cash out thing for kind of extra stuff. We gotta spend 2,000 prize wall coins and win a showdown with the bro. 18 milestones full of awesomeness. I think Davey's taking a break this month, he said, Goldie, because he switched Jabaruskis and is super busy. So I believe that is where the Davey is. Another positive note: where we seem to be getting tons of the currency, with it still being, with the prize wall being cheaper. So that's been nice too. Yep, that's about where I ended up to, McLovin. Very similar, with a 0 spend. Oh, let's do, what else are we gonna? Techie's amazing. And yes, Coach took her. I plan on, my current plan actually is, unless I can get Triple H, because I think he'll be ridiculous at 6-star. But even then, Techie will have shards, so Techie is likely going to be my first female. Did I see many 6s? Yeah, I saw quite a few, Zandel. Liv made short work of most of them. I did use, against a 6-star Bianca, I used my 5-star silver, what's-her-face, Ronda Rousey. And another time I made a big mistake and used China. It took 14 cycles to win, because it was 1,000,000 damage per turn. The only Triple H that matters, Tech Triple H. The only one that matters. No, I don't think Coach has made a video. But as long as you have her gear and the Uso plate, you're fine. That's all you need. So if you got those, you're good. Yeah, I've been on his hype train since day one, McMenemy. He's totally useless. Absolutely, Zandel. I think if we got one of those, one of the feuds, if we got like we did with the showdown, what do you call it? Showdown thing, scrimmage. We got one of those like we do with feud, that would be helpful. I mean, because, you know, 1,100 shards of 2,000, 1,000 shards of 2,000, 1,200 of 2,000 just isn't really moving the needle too much. Yeah, absolutely, Ken. Tell him Mherex vouched for you and said you'd be crazy not to take Techie up. She's amazing. I absolutely did, HD. Absolutely did. Yes, you have to explain it all the time to people. Because, you know, they still think he's bad. I'm telling you, man, people watch the wrong videos sometimes. That's all I'm gonna say. I need 220 more prize wall spin. Yeah, Charlotte is pretty good at 6-star. Absolutely. That would be another one that's possible for a lot of people. A little harder to get her shards than Techie unless you like doing trivia. Then not so hard. Yeah, there's some good... there's a good channel to leave your feedback on the event this weekend. For sure on the forum. I hate trivia. It's so boring. I struggle to do it. It's so good, like legitimately good, and I struggle to do it because it's so boring. I'll just hit one of these. Call that good for that. Later, Ripper. Thanks for stopping in. I appreciate you, sir. I guess we should win that showdown match, and then, you know, if you guys want to see my 6-star Gable, you can mess around with that, or I can show you some of the setups I ran for Feud with the ladies that I think worked really well, perkless. You do some of that stuff. I need to put the original bro in here. Dom, I really like him. Looking forward to feuding with him at Gold. Still need to make that J video so I can get a new one. I'm good, Jammy. How are you, buddy? Yeah, they are, Zandel. I rarely get a good one. Rarely. Is it the wrong riddle? Oh, I guess I'll have to do 2 showdowns. I just assumed it would be the tech, not the free one. Sweet. I actually really like this Trickster riddle. I like it more than Shamrock. And he's NXT, so that's also awesome. And good Tricksters are hard to come by. How do you be, Sensei? I need to start with the Cobra Kai, the streaming of the Cobra Kai. But I am almost through Season 2 of Vikings, rewatching it because I'm playing the Vikings game. So I've been rewatching that. This isn't going to work for me. I'm going to have to do it this way or I'll never find him. I'm blind as a bat. Where is the riddle at? I can't see him. There he is. Oh, nice, Sensei. Enjoy your days off. Fury's really good at 6-star. His bleed goes to 3 turns and like 1 million damage, McMenemy. It's gonna be really hard. Now, I wanted to take Boiler Mankind, but I don't know if I cannot make Fury that call. With the bleed going to 3 turns at 1 million, that's just kind of ridiculous. Mainly, I'm just thinking about that bleed in Faction Boss, to be honest. And then also the fact that he can make so many blues also being useful for Faction Boss. But, you know, the strong bleeds come in handy. So... So I can't fault you there, McMenemy. It's under consideration as well. Also, Trick Becky. Definitely considering her. Shards, obviously, are going to be a huge problem for both of them. But those would be the two I really am considering at Trickster at the moment. Get that all done now. Stamps are gonna start Tuesday. Just FYI, heads up. Stamps will start Tuesday. Okay. Who's the required tour person today? Miz or Priest? And who are the one that people are stuck with if they don't have Miz or Priest? Oh, Walter? Well, that's not so bad. That's not so bad. Walter on tours should do just fine. Yeah, I get that, Sib. I don't think it was a good weekend for a lot of people. I think a lot of people. I mean, like, so I went to 25 mil. Only took me 4 hours, and I feel like it was a waste of my time. Like, I should have stopped at 10 mil, to be honest. I did. I wanted to take a chance at the ultimate strap, which I knew 95% chance was going to be garbage. And it was. I got a new Gen Striker skip turn, like the least useful thing on the planet for HBK skip turn. So, it's whatever. They rarely pan out. I'm surprised I haven't taken my Walter 5-star yet, to be honest. But yeah, it should be really easy this way. Just recycle the finisher over and over and over. You know, some version. Actually, a lot of times for tours, I probably would run this. And then just recycle the finisher. Yeah, everyone is in this shard world, right? Like, so to be honest, guys, the only way it seems like I've made oh yeah, McLovin. Absolutely. The only way I've made significant strides on shards at all is the like 30,000 you can get in the boss battle shop. That's it. Otherwise, all my shard counts have been completely meaningless, right? Like, so. But yeah, I would run Walter this way if you got a medal. So much the better. Um, if you don't have... If you don't have a medal, like a strap on him, like I don't have mine unlocked yet. I could try once to see if I get a move damage one. I don't really think it's worth it because I just am not using him a lot. But yeah. Move charge, if you have red and yellow, that would be great, like Shamrock. And, most people probably don't have Priest. If you do have Priest, you're probably not using Walter. So then I would use Batista if you don't have Priest. Oh, that faction talent up part was terrible, HD. 1%, we just decided it wasn't worth it because the faction rewards weren't good. So, I completely support that. It's not even kind of worth it. Right? Like, what the heck, you know? And then I would put some flat here, you know? Santa Hogan, if you have him 17k or not, regardless, I would put flat. Gem damage all the way. If you don't have your Walter leveled like I don't, right? And that combination will pretty much get it done quite well with the move damage and then with 2 sets of flats. You don't even need... I may as well not even have a strap right now, to be honest, because I don't have anything equipped to it. So I basically don't have a strap for all intents and purposes. So just flat if you can, double flat if you can't, no big deal. He'll recycle the finisher, so that's the good part. The good thing about Riddle, Ken, is he'll be able to double duty and help you in Showdown. I would say there's no rush until you start struggling somewhere, you know what I mean? I want a new Walter that does some vicious chops. And yeah, hoarding shards is rough. I think I'm gonna find a sweet spot. And there'll be times when I use shards and times when I don't. It's really not good, but... Would a skip turn be good for head of the table Roman? Cody Weekend was pretty decent for shards, Scott, comparatively. Yes. So, skip turn on Roman probably, would probably be okay if you don't have, gem defense. So, the way Roman, if current perks stay, if you have his gear, I think you could look at him with 100% health steal move. Without it, the gear, I probably wouldn't build head of the table Roman Swavey. You can find a better option. But if you have his gear, especially with current perks, I do feel like a skip turn would probably benefit him, because sometimes he'll give up his turn. So I think it would actually probably benefit him pretty good. As opposed to the other stuff not really helping him, because he's not really ultimate skip turn with gear. Yeah, I think that's not a bad shout on him, actually. I think in that regard, he's probably going to be usable, depending on your roster and depending what you like to do. But I think he'll probably be usable because I think his health steal... what's it base at 6-star? Let me look real quick. He's an interesting one to me. One of him, Cesaro, and Boiler Mankind come to mind with some good health steals that are interesting with the current perks we have, if they stay. You know? Which, who knows if they will or not. Let me... Black Chapters actually probably knows exactly what his health steal is at base, because I know he's a Roman fan with the perk change. And I don't think he's wrong. Because I think he's going to be a pretty solid option, especially if you have a higher shard count. Yeah, Zandel, I get that. Powerhouse Biggie, what tier is he? If somebody's a B or a C tier, I think you can use the shards and it's not as big a hit. But if they're like an A tier, S tier, it really starts to hurt. Gear and trainers, 1.2. He's A tier? Yeah, I feel like you're better off keeping those, Zandel. Especially Powerhouse. There's some loaded Powerhouses too. You got Seth, KO, Super Stacy. To be honest, Otis. I think Otis is one of those guys, if his shards become readily available like most of the other free MLC cards have, I think Otis is 100% a legitimate target for 6-star. Like, I would actually take Otis up before Sika, personally. I'm a big fan of Otis. Yep, exactly. Geez, so the problem, guys, is we know how the game goes, right? Like, a new tier comes out, and typically 3-4 months into, like, well, I'll call it a new tier. The cards that get released are like, make your old stuff pretty much worthless. And so everyone that's like rushing, scrambling to get a 6-star now, it's great, but you don't want to burn your chances later on the shards, because there's going to be someone that comes up out for sure that is going to blow everyone else out of the water, and you're going to wish you had the shards to take them up. That's just the way it's going to be. It's always like that. That's how gacha games work. What's good today will not be good tomorrow. That's how they all work. There's a few exceptions. Some guys really stand the test of time and whatnot, but for the most part, hey, you're going to replace almost everyone you're using right now in the next year. Like, probably 90% of what you use right now, you won't use a year from now. You might not even use it 6 months from now. And if shards continue to be this big of slowdown, that's going to make decisions very, very, very important. Because the way it is going right now, I think you're looking at 3-4 months to get the shards for somebody, and that's assuming you have the boss battle currency to do so. So if you're not playing boss battle right now a lot, your faction doesn't do boss battle, you're probably going to be in big trouble, because that's where the bulk of the shards are coming from at the moment. I don't know that that'll stay that way, but at the moment, 100%. I would rate boss battle as the most important mode now as far as roster progression goes. Like, feud doesn't even matter for your roster most of the time now, as far as roster progression. But if the last month or two are any indicator, the only way your roster is going to progress very fast is going to be boss battle is going to play a bigger part than any other mode. Because those shards are a must-have. If they don't get them somewhere else, like the Showdown store or something like that, the only other way is a lot of spending, which I'm not willing to do. Acro aggressive, yes, and then also acro defensive. Acro is bad in general. Acro defensive too. You know? Alright, so that setup works great for Walter. I'm sure he could go through a lot of hell mode with that, to be honest. Priest is on my list to work up anyway, because I need to get his trainer leveled. Yeah, that was an interesting loot. The shard loot was pretty good. If I would have been, and I love Cody, if I would have been inclined to spend, that would have been one I would have spent on. Because you were getting his shards and stuff. I just took what I could get from the Blitz and what I could get for free. Let's see where I ended up on Cody. He's super fun. I wish I had him. Plus his coach for boss battle. Ooh, top notch. Yeah, I'm still like almost 700 shards away. So I won't get Cody anytime soon. Dancing Cymbal Monkey. Actually, this recent run of characters, shard count's been pretty rough for me. This one's disappointing. That won't happen anytime soon. Super Tan Stacy. Still nowhere near this guy. Thank you for screwing up my store. Mela, I might end up getting in Showdown. 105 shards more needed. Yeah, A and B shards in large quantity, G, yes. Nowhere near Zelina, who I wish I had. I think she's actually quite good. And my whole MLCM, though, I'm rating on the 130 more shards I need for this guy. I think he's top-notch. So, Razor I didn't get. I'm kind of close to, but not close enough. Yeah, Scott, that's definitely a thing. Sean, I prefer Striker Sean in a lot of ways. I like Cody's gameplay more. Probably not surprising to a lot of people. Rocker Sean, childhood idol, and I think he's better currently. Better. I don't know. Long term, it'll be interesting to see. But currently, I do think he's better. But they're very close. Cody's just a little bit slower. But still very, very strong. Very strong. I want to level him for his trainer anyway, so guess now's the time. Here's an example of somebody that becomes very difficult to use in feud now. That 13 is almost impossible to fill. So he's like an example of super high charge that's difficult to use. Gable, I would never put a skip turn on, ever. Always gem defense. The only way I wouldn't use a gem defense is if, like, you had, if you had, like, a 10% gem defense and, like, a 40% move damage, I would go the move damage. But otherwise, I'd always use gem defense on Gable. Like, always. So, Bradshaw is going to be a problem for a lot of people that they'll have to solve. He is going to win a lot. He's going to take a very long time to do so. And you want a boss plate. If you had like a 50% gem defense strap, it would be a lot more interesting with Bradshaw. But with kick-out perks, you're going to need to get them under half-life. He would destroy 5-star golds fast and easy. Very fast and easy. 6 stars, it's going to be a bit of a time thing. But he almost never will lose if you play him correctly. Yeah, there's not too many guys skip turns on are great anymore. "100% move damage strap for Bradshaw?" I did not see that, McMenemy. That's pretty awesome, actually. Could you imagine 100% move damage strap on someone like Super Stacy? On Liv, on Triple H? You have extra turn on Dom? Was that the only option you had? $15K. We got a long way to go. Right? Get out of here, Lee. You get out of here. This guy. This guy. You don't even know how much he's got total on his Super Stacy. What were you hitting for base, Lee? With her. I'm assuming, did you have top lane? With top lane too, you could you know, just run reds. You don't mind the extra turn on Dom? Okay. I think I might have move damage on mine, to be honest. I don't think really you probably can't really go wrong with what you throw on Dom. He's just gonna shred people. He's pretty indefensible, to be honest. Dom's gonna do Dom things. He's pretty much unstoppable. Yeah, just double reds and just hit the finisher all day, Lee. I think I have skip on my KO too, B-Rock. In fact, I know I do. That's the only decent option I had, if I remember right. I don't think I had any big gem damage stuff at the time. Still don't for Powerhouse. Really trying to focus on trainers lately and work on getting them. Hey Benny, how are you, buddy? So that's the thing, Dom, you can't really stop him. Nothing, he doesn't, as long as you get the La Familia plate. You can't stop him, and then if you have Rhonda on top of it, oof. Your goodness. So the other thing that is interesting that you can do too, depending on your coaches and trainers, right? But you can just, Dom just shreds people. And there's literally no way of stopping it, really. Alright, looks like we're gonna take priest up one more notch. I'm, like I said, trying to focus on trainers a lot. I got one of the Hall of Fame gen generates left to go, Lita. Want to work on that this month. Want to get him to 15k. No. Warrior is also good. Not a mistake. I think you can go with either of them. I'm taking both to gold. Well, Dom's already gold. Warrior's going to gold. I don't know who will go bronze first. It'll probably depend on shards, but I think they're both great for that. I plan on using playing with them Warrior a bunch in feud too to figure out which I like better. Goat's really good, Benny. Goat Becky is very good. Lee, for my money, Super Stacy, best 6-star lady in the game, not even close. I think, maybe Shayna number 2 for feud. That might be open to debate in playstyle preferences, but say Stacy's head and shoulders the best, I think. No real weakness whatsoever. She might, if enough people have her, might single-handedly bring anti-stun belts back into vogue. Oh man, what happened to Priest's face? Ooh. Yeah, you can't really go wrong with Warrior or Dom, in my opinion. I think Dom might end up being a little bit faster. Liv's very good, actually, as well, for sure. Right? Yeah, and it's debatable whether you even will need the stun on Stacy. I mean, when there's a bunch of 6-stars, you'll probably need to cycle it one time. One time, maybe. Depending. But she's ridiculous. Okay. That's fine. I don't have her KD, but I still like talking about Super Stacy. Will talk or not. Guy can dream. I'm like 450 shards away, I think, so not likely to happen anytime soon. if you took rarity out of it, like how rare someone is, if you said one card on your roster, pick one, I would say that would be the choice for me. That's the best one that I don't have. I mean, and arguably, she'd be more impactful than anything with what she can do in the ladies' feud game. So... Oh yeah, green finisher now. Thank you, Gable. Yeah. Hey, Elvin, how are you? Recognize, speaking of that, finally, of course, I'm sure everyone can guess what kind it is. I did get a tier 5 red, finally. But as you could guess, it is, of course, padded. Free-to-play riddle is pretty good, I think. The free riddle is pretty good. Probably a lot of people's best trickster. Yeah, Tech Shayna is really good now too, McLovin. Yes. Like, what are we, like, 2 years into medals? I'm VIP 12 and I still don't have some tier 4s? Some tier 4s? Oh. Yes, I would, Elvin. Otis is amazing. I agree, Black Chapters, actually. Totally agree. That should be fine. I don't think I'll really even need to do much else with Priest. That should totally be fine. And, move damage, sure. Let's see. And that's right, bleed too. Out here. Yeah, no contest on that one, Elvin. Otis. Yep. Medals are I like at this point, honestly, I would probably pay to get a specific set medal. You know what I mean? Like, I probably legitimately would pay. If it was guaranteed, which is saying something. Yeah, like I said in my post, I think the faction feud rewards, I mean, like, the strap parts, like, up those like 5 times, give us like 500,000 metal bits, and then store currency, because I can't even get enough metal bits anymore. I'm farming, using auto clear tickets just to try and farm metal bits, for Pete's sakes. I can't, you get, even when you get a medal, trying to level it takes forever. How about a prize wall with specific medals? I mean, like, that to me would be better than, and in a lot of cases, even better than shards for me, because I know I could put the medals to use right away. Like, if you said, here's a tier 5 percentage move damage medal for Fury, I would be all over that. You know? But when you're this deep into medals and, like, you know, people, I mean, like, G's max VIP, right? I'm not a low VIP. And when people like us can't get medal parts or decent medals, imagine what the average player feels like when it comes to medals. They probably, like, how many of you guys have at least a tier 4 percentage of some kind? That even if it's a bad, like, padded, but at least have one. And they probably are going off the people that did that flow. And they're going off of the base average. It's just another case of something that a few people do and use and makes the game much harder for everyone else. It's frustrating. You don't have hardly any, Ken? You have every color, Swavy? You're doing better than me. Nice. I still don't have black, Fury, or armor in black. Montez is likely not to be fun. Just gonna bring those with. And I think I'm missing... In Fury, I think I'm missing yellow, but I'm not positive. Yeah, I move them for flash feuds in particular a lot, McMenemy, in between guys and ladies, for sure. You're absolutely, I'm sure, right on that, Flo, too. Because they're probably just checking the averages, and they assume because of those players with millions and millions that the average is much higher than it really is. Yep, same. You have to switch, right? Like, no chance. I definitely don't have any tier 5 yellows. I have a tier 5 purple in armor and vitality. I have a tier 5 red in padded and a tier 5 green in padded. That's it. I don't have black, yellow, blue. Yeah, McLevin. I think it's likely we'll probably get a new priest soonish. Not this month, I don't think, because I don't think he fits the flavor. And if next month is zombies, maybe November. Judgment Day priest. Hey, Southside, how are you, my man? Yeah, we are. I mean, you're like obviously somebody that's gonna have way more than most people. Um, I'm assuming that there are still plenty of percentage medals you'd like to get. Oh, Piper, you're such a jerk. You're not missing out too much, recognize, other than when he's a requirement. Mutant Priest still kind of recent, yeah. I just feel like he's been a major player on TV, and a lot of times I feel like they push those guys out a little bit sooner, G, you know what I mean? Which is why I thought we'd honestly have a Dewdrop sooner than now, because for a while she was getting a lot of TV time. Ah, Super Stacy makes sense, recognize. How about Edge coming out with the Lucha mask with Ray? I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, Timmy. A lot of people feel your pain there. How are you? By the way, welcome in. The purple one is actually came in pretty handy, the purple armor, so I can't complain about that one, but I switched that around a lot. Yeah, Piper Nevin's awesome. I much prefer her NXT name.
Love you, sweetie. You're super, super nice. Like, with her.
Actually, I don't think it matters who I use. Priest, I think I can one-click it faster. This week is going to be interesting. On my stream, I'm going to try and start with going over the guy feuders that are going to be good with the current perks. That's going to take a while, though. That's probably going to take 2 or 3 weeks to get through that. I mean, there's obviously a bunch that don't really care, more so than in the ladies, but there's some that are going to be, I think, pretty interesting, where less sub turns actually works out so you can play the characters, a lot of them, the way they were intended with the subs. A lot of those blow up the board after the fact subs become way more interesting. And I'm kind of looking forward to messing around with those. Extreme Rules is the next premium live event, right? Also, with all of the 24-hour tours, it's probably useful to stay up on your tours so it's easier to notice them when they drop. I'm assuming tomorrow will be another one of the 24-hour ones. Today's isn't, which is nice, but... You gotta watch that, though. Oh, Big Strong Boy would be amazing. He's so good. Also, it's ridiculous how strong that guy is. Like, he, like, can powerbomb the biggest dudes like they're nothing, Zandel. Friggin' Tyler Bate has got to be one of the strongest pound-for-pound people on the planet. I do not like a 24-hour tour on Friday, McMenemy. That's a fact. Fridays are too busy for me. You guys have not seen Tyler Bate wrestle? Worth checking out. He's ridiculous. Didn't he become UK champ at like 18, NXT UK? I think he was like 18 years old when he became champ there. He's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. And he's unreal strong for his, especially like, he's this tiny guy and he'll just friggin' powerbomb these big dudes. Well, essentially, kind of a powerbomb. Tyler Driver is sort of a powerbomb. Not really, but kind of. Okay, those are done. That's good. So, any particular characters you guys want to see played? Other than Piper. Or McMenemy. Rolls. I hate you guys. Very much. FOD, add you to the list of people I don't like. Okay. Perfect. Striker Austin? Oh, my Hall of Fame Honky Tonk Man is not leveled. My boss battle promoter. No. Striker Austin, he says. What? Striker Austin? Oh, Stunning Steve. Okay. Alright, that makes more sense. I'm like, I don't even have him leveled. Stunning I can play. As soon as I find out where he's at. He's gold. Which... I'd rather play an Xbox 360 than Slick Rick, Pat. That's saying something. So, unfortunately, less Juggernaut gems hurt Stunning Steve a little bit. As well as the multiply perks. At the same time, the game being less slow, or the game being slower, helps him out at the same time, so there's that. Not sure how I feel about it in general. Oops, you of course need double grain in Feud. Get that to go off, or Santa Hogan at 17k, either or. Not gem modifier, move charge. 3 Hall of Fame tech straps? Trickster Rick. No! Although Trickster Rick's way better than Showboat Rick. Just stop, Piper. Just stop. I'm just gonna leave that one blank, because you wouldn't have anything in Feud in there. Unless you have 17k Santa. You definitely want to use your gem generate. Hall of Famers. Hall was free. If you don't have him, 17k, you want to do that. I did. I don't have great Kali, Timmy. I did, B-Rock. You're not missing anything. I just wanted to make sure that in fact the entire community is struggling with getting the right medals, and it seems like that is the case. flat green is probably going to be your best bet until 6-star. Memrock wouldn't be terrible, but you're kind of using the Juggernaut gems anyway to work off of, so flat green is going to be a better bet most of the time. And then you want the skill plate, the all heart, for sure. I don't have metal parts to be moving stuff around, so he's just going to have to roll without metals. Yes, no on that Acro Macho. The downside, too, is you need to get 2 swipes. Okay. Skip. Yeah. No one wants to watch Eddie's kickouts loaded. No one wants to watch me play Booker. So greens are 65k a piece now. So he definitely takes a hit with multiply perks going away. Because this won't hit nearly as hard as it would used to have. Still hits okay, but you know, Eddie's got the kick out. It does recycle itself. Later, Ken. Take it easy. Move damage percentage. B-Rock, you have all of those? Nice. Like, I'm still missing Fury and Armor in black, and I think yellow and Fury for move damage that I don't even have one of. Most of them I only have one usable one of for move damage. Setup? I mean, I haven't... My Booker's only 5-star bronze, and I barely ever play him. And he keeps getting the yellow to load his kick out. That is super annoying. Where did, Oh, that's awesome. Broke my Juggernaut gems. Apparently. Yay. Actually getting pinned with Steve is better than not getting pinned. Usually it speeds things up, so... Yeah, I don't particularly care for him anymore, Zandel. In particular with the new perks. I don't think he's worth building because of the Juggernaut gems. No, that one makes sense, McMenemy. I could see liking that one better. That actually makes sense to me, so... We can take a look at it. Because I have not tried him that way. That actually makes a lot of sense, though. So because generally you have to swipe twice, anybody with a low charge, anyone that can recycle with one match is generally a super bad matchup for him. Oh, I forgot to put my Juggernaut gem down too because I'm talking. Black moves the purple. That's like a cheap Offa without a buff. So that's great for clearing one tier below you and being fast with that. So, but you're never going to do enough damage, to be honest. But that's really good for clearing out silvers. But yeah, against golds, not so much. Hey, Mavy. What's up, bud? Saying hi? You're saying hi, huh? It's like, you better pay attention to me. Hey, the kickout's not loaded. Okay. Play your game. Leave me alone, lady. So McMenemy runs in with the other black, which actually I could see making sense with this one too. And no sub. And the swipe plate. You could do that and run MP down trainers coaches sort of thing, and it's probably faster. By a long shot. So he's running him this way with the HBK swipe plate. And this goes up to ×5 when it's maxed at gold. ×5 multiplies. Or you could run it with a specific MP down color. Too. So like against Eddie, you could run it with like yellow or purple, you know, depending on what he started with. Hi, bud. Hi. No, I don't trust you. No. I know you. So McMenemy's running him this way with the swipey plate. The Sean Showstopper. And we definitely don't want Eddie to get yellow. I could see that, McMenemy. Yeah, that makes sense. Of course. We do have a decent amount of greens on the board, too. So that's actually quite nice. More multiplies this way than we were getting with the sub, for sure. And I'm not metaled all the way up either, so keep that in mind. I don't have the right setup metal-wise and whatnot. Yeah, target the blues with the HBK plate. That makes absolute sense. And why not? We have it filled. So why not? This obviously would look way better with the actual right metals and setups and all that. Oh, come on, don't break all those greens. That's not what we want. Let's go. I could see that hitting pretty hard, McManamy, when you had the setup all the way. What are you getting, like 2.5, 3? With the right metals and stuff? It's not using its finisher. I love the AI. Yeah, okay. That sounds about right. 2.5 to 3 sounds about right, so most of the time. Like a lot of guys, if you pick your spots now, use the right coaches, the MP down coaches and stuff, you can be turn 2, turn 3, and still do okay often. And then as long as you can kick out of a pin, Juggernaut gems going off when you're in a pin can make it even faster a lot of times, so. And Striker, in particular, he always has a lot of ups and downs. Like, they'll be, like, the kind of the top of the heap, and then they'll fall off, and I mean, right now they have Rocker, Sean, and Cody, who are amazing. Foley's still going to be really, really good. But then after that, there's a pretty big drop-off, and you just don't have a ton of options, like really good options. Strowman is a little bit slow, but can be good. Orton can be good, you know. As for Steve's other set, the best part about that, Zandel, is it's super cheap to load at 6 MP. 4 snowfalls into black, and then you blow it up. And then you have the choose to reload. Although the choose won't reload anymore, 4 is not, the 4x1 area, 4 points will not load this. You're too short. So you would have to use, like, Alundra now. To get the +2 black MP on a match, or you're not going to load the pile driver. So, actually, what am I talking about? Choose 5 gems to make it. You're fine because of the area. Ignore me. You're fine. You're turning all the gems black. I was just thinking that choosing isn't enough. Oh no, the 4 snowfall. No, it's fine. You're fine. You don't need that. Just ignore me. I don't know what I'm talking about. But on the choose, you will need 2-3 matches instead of 1. Just ignore me. Too tired. But it doesn't hit, I mean, like, 4 rows of black gems on a striker is nice. It just doesn't hit super hard. Yes, Scuff indeed. Almost all the time now, guys, if you're not buffing the damage in some way, blowing up the board isn't enough. So just blowing up the board is fine, but you need to buff the damage somehow. It just doesn't do enough. Interesting, thinking about sub guys, that having their turn reduced and subs nerfed may not be the end of the world. I think a lot of people think it kills Lex the most, of the sub guys, for example. And I was looking at him trying to see if something like this might be viable, for people that have already taken him up, right? And if you have the right trainer-coach combo, Wolfpack Sting can get, you're still going to be one short on the black. Just trying to see if you can get the Scoop Power Slam to go off at the same time you're turning him yellow, without a 17k Santa, right? Because that's just not realistic for a lot of people. And I don't think there's a two black, one red anymore, or right now. I think it's just the wrong way. So you'd be one short the first time, of being able to hit the buff, unfortunately. Because with it being cross breaks, there's a 25%er, which isn't bad, but the double gem coaches are probably going to be better in cases like this. I was just kind of curious, if I could get it to turn 1 without a 17k Santa to hit everything, and I can't, and I don't have the right metals on and can't afford to change it. I was just curious how hard it would hit. So I will probably test him. I was going to, but if you can't get it without 17k Santa, I don't think it's a big enough difference for enough of the community that's really worth it too much. Edge is another one where alternate build is going to be important. Can he survive switching him over like to Fury, with some version of this? With the sub only lasting 4 turns, I mean, you could also do the, I know Goldie loves these coaches, the 2 MP down coaches. Now his sub only lasts 2 turns. Or, I'm sorry, 2 turn down coaches. Sub lasts 2 turns. A lot more of those snowfalls are going to stay towards the top. And then you can run some version. I know Scott likes the double black, because you can go back to the sub right away again. But you can also do some version of like, sure. I think the black might even be the way to go, still that way. Potentially. I wonder what, some kind of double setup. Choose 6 to blue. Green MP. Be nice to be able to get this mixed in, with the finisher and that, but I don't think there's a good way of doing that. Yeah, I just don't see a good way of doing that. At least with the choose, you could potentially hit some snowfalls. It's not going to be super hard, though. So I don't know if I love that. I think I would probably go away from the sub altogether. And just see, because it is low charge at 6 MP. Decent sized finisher, so if you had a blue move damage percentage, maybe something like this. It's obviously going to recycle fine. This kind of scares me though. The 16 random sounds like a lot, but it isn't a ton. You can easily sometimes only get a couple matches on it. Here, I'll just run it with crap metals because this is not the best day to be doing this. My brain is not working as well as it should be. I would probably go Hall too, because we're really relying on the buff in this case. And then flat, green, or Santa, who's all colors. Yeah, the second cycle of the sub. You're still gonna go with a super sub setup, Scott, because he's 6 MP, so you can put all the sub trainers on him, just reload it and hit it twice to make up for it. Because basically your sub damage is half, so now you're just hitting it twice instead of once. And doing the same thing. I think you're probably right. That's probably going to be the most efficient. I wonder, with a good metal setup, how hard this will hit. I don't really remember from my preview. I know I ran it, but I don't remember from my preview how hard it hit. I guess I could go rewatch my preview. And the 50% sub thing is under offensive too. So there's that, right? Also, with this buff, is Honky Tonk blue to green, or is La Familia blue to green? Because if you wanted to risk it, it's 6 MP, so you could do a 3 and a 5. Perfect. Honky Tonk is cheaper, so you could do a 3 and swipe into a 5, and then get the buff twice theoretically. If a person wanted to risk that. I mean, I have the 5 right there. Oh my gosh, Piper. I have the 5 right there, you know. You could, but so that's another option too. That would be worth, I think, messing around with. Now you're at 250%. Or possibly instead of Razar, you could run blue MP, double MP, hit the buff, do the choose, hit the buff again. And in that regard, you could maybe even get it 3 times. Which would be interesting. But the problem is sometimes you don't connect a lot. So you need to generate a lot of gems. Good connection that time, obviously. But no cascade. And I don't have Fury on, so it's going to look like it hits like a wet noodle. And I don't have a blue metal on. So keep all that in mind. But I think you're probably right, Scott, with the 2 subs. But I do want to try it with Fury and with a Honky Tonk plate. Yay, 3 yellows. Because maybe it could get a little bit crazy that way. But again, you're taking a risk making a 5 and a 3. And does the choose go up to 7 when you max it at gold? That would be helpful. It would be 7 in feud anyway. But 7 is much easier to make work. Oh, it does. So it'd be 8 in feud. So that's plenty to choose to do a setup of 5 and a 3. More than plenty. Doc, that's kind of what I'm talking about. Um, Scott is probably onto something, still running green, black, black. Do the super sub, and then just run it twice. Although, Scott, your destroy won't necessarily be full right away, unless you use double MP trainers. So there is that. The increase green or the destroy. So that's probably worth noting. Blag, thank you for the raid, man. How was your stream? So that's worth noting too. And I just don't know how hard this is going to hit. So he's probably less affected by the sub than most people, though, because of everything is such a low charge. Dom's amazing. He's the acrobat I would take up now. Black MP trainer? Ah, that would make sense. Okay. And then fill your move first time, destroy the second time. That makes sense. That does make sense. Yeah, that's probably going to be the best then. Because like you said, 2 subs is going to do it. And in the current speed, I think that's just fine, actually. So, yeah, just keep him sub, start with the black. I mean, as much fun as it is to make these guys work in a different way, bad attitude backup, I can get down with that. You could also use all heart too, right? If you, like, have you, instead of using the sub, have you just been like, I wonder if I could destroy enough of these snowfalls? Or they just usually probably don't end up on top too much. Bad attitude makes more sense and just hit the sub again. Yeah, Tech Ronda was amazing. I like that. I ran her green, green, yellow. Yeah, I never trust the snowfalls, for sure. They don't go to the top too much. So, yeah, that does seem to make sense with the black MP. So just hit this, hit the sub, choose your green the next turn. Sub, then finisher with Mela's Mask. That would be fun. Ish. I don't have Mela's Mask, but that would be fun-ish. But yeah, and then use the less turns on your sub. Coach, green, I forget who that is right off the top of my head. Champa, maybe? Yeah, I ran my Tech Ronda, similar-ish, but green instead of black. And I used her at 5-star silver against a 6-star Bianca and won no problem. She didn't struggle at all at 5 silver. I'll take her gold on talent up. I ran her this way. With an all heart, which was pretty fun. I don't know, Scott. I don't have it, right? And that's one I didn't even test because I was like, there's so few people this is going to be very good on. And I didn't have any of them leveled. I liked her this way quite a bit. Recycles flawlessly. Once in a blue moon, you don't get as big a break if they get like a 5 match on the sub and they destroy a bunch of your X breaks, but for the most part, it was really hit really hard with an all heart and was pretty fine. Did not care for China. So I think that's just me though, to be honest. Yeah, her finisher is interesting too because it blows up a ton of the board. Like you said with Ronda, there's a lot of different ways you could run her, I think, too. That's big damage and you're destroying 4 rows? That's not bad. So that's tempting to use too, instead of the flurry punch. 5 at gold, that's basically your whole board, you know? And if you use Rhonda's jacket or all heart, 2 of your gems have 100% boost when you're blowing up the whole board. So that's not bad at all. Because I could see running that instead of the punch flurry as well. Same principle. That makes sense. So, because I could see that. Same principle. This is trying to end it with this move. And this is more, okay, you hit the green, maybe you end it. If not, then you hit this and maybe end it. If not, then you're back to the armbar, is the only thing. This is interesting, too. Stun on her at 6-star. Yeah, Lunder is still okay. There's still stuff you can do with her. Wendy was fine with the line bonus. Multiply. Molly was fine. Wendy was really good, assuming 17k Santa, though. Otherwise, you lose a lot of damage. Bliss was great, but slow. Liv was fine, obviously really good. Becky was super fun. I wanted to run her originally greens to start. I wanted to run her greens to start because I think I had more fun with that. But I switched to this because I was using steel on a couple people. And this was actually pretty good because I have this good move damage medal. So she was hitting finisher 750k and then like 16 of the bleeds out there. So she was really good this way too. But I do think my preference for her might end up being the greens. I actually use multiply on Molly with the line bonus FOD. In for about 2 mil to 2.5, which in the ladies game is a lot. I feel like not many are doing that on turn 1 with the line bonus, but sadly she'll need the line bonus, you know? I don't know if I have the patience to sit there with the subs, kick out sub thing without the gear. With the gear, I probably would still use her that way. Yeah, she hits really hard that way. It's too bad if the perks had stayed the same at 6-star, I think she would have been doing like 4 or 5 mil that way at 6-star. Becky's also really interesting with this low charge leg lariat because there's a ton of green users. And then she also gets a purple at 6-star. And that's really interesting too. I didn't think I'd be using MP steals anytime soon again, but those actually work quite well for her, especially with Super Stacy floating around and that kind of stuff. Nice, you have the gear. Nice. So Becky was pretty good, I thought. For ones I used a bunch. She was really good and Rhonda was really good. Wendy was still fine, but I think they're going to see issues moving forward. Shayna's really good now. Again, Z-Plate if you have it. Z-Plate Shayna going off turn 2 with this build set, which I still need to set up for. Hits very hard and super hard to kick out of with that Z-Plate. And then you can actually run a Lunder this way and get the countdowns off turn 1 and blow up the board 5 in a 3 match. And you can still get 2 countdowns down, so you'll do 1.2 mil and then blow up the board. Not bad. That's an option for her. You can also do the double yellow thing, which the multiply gems go to ×5 at gold, and that's getting a lot bigger. So, I don't know. I think the real answer is just get to 6-star and use Techie with gear. If you don't have Super Stacy. I wish I had Shayna. Not even close. Not even close. 1165. So yeah, I think Tech Becky is actually probably going to be my favorite option for speed combo there. Dom's ridiculously good. It's kind of nutty. MP trainer for this slot in feud, but he just slaps, you know? Get a little bit more out of it still. I do want to mess around with Roman. I don't know how I want to run him now that multis are nerfed, though. Don't really want to use the sub. This probably won't be even kind of enough with the choosing only 8, but it's kind of fun. I don't know. I mean, the right moveset is probably, you know, that. Or something. Sub would be really good, though, with multiply gems, too. So, I don't know. I do want to mess around with him. Almost no one has him, so I don't really need to talk about him. That's on my own time. Because most people don't have him, so that's not going to be interesting to most people. You know? This week is going to be interesting, because I don't know. The ladies seem pretty easy to sort out. The guys feel like it's going to be a lot harder to sort out, to me. Because some of them are still going to be crazy ridiculous. Cody, HBK are just going to be nuts, right? And then who else, like, is going to fall into that those really good categories? I feel like Dusty got hammered really bad. I haven't really thought about it super in depth yet, though. And I just don't think there's going to be a lot of great striker options. We'll see. You know, Powerhouse has plenty of good options. I feel like Seth is great. Like, almost impossible to screw him up. I'm assuming the perks, Dawn plays Havoc with Sika. Because he's not going to make enough blast gems now, right? Will he? Yeah, JBL Rusev, he can still. So never mind. But it doesn't make as many connect. Definitely hurts him. Yeah. If you got Rusev, you gotta run them both. Before, though, you could pick and choose, right? Like, you could, if you didn't run Rusev, you could run Green MP Trainer if you wanted to do stuff like that. Now you can't do that. Is the downside. Or gem damage, whatever you felt like doing. I feel like he's gonna generate 3 less now. 3 less. Special gems are 3 less. Probably mine too, Blag. I wasn't as big a fan of the Blast Gem build for Taker, but now, with the changes, Taker, man, Titan Plate Double Blue seems really good now, because you can have this one on too. So you're going to get the Titan buff, you're going to get the Leaping Clothesline buff, and then you're going to recycle and blow up most of the board. So I feel like that's going to be super good. Now, I mean, you can obviously still mess around with the sub if you want to and stuff, but feel like that would be really good. Recycle and fast. If you don't take him out turn 1, you're definitely taking him turn 2, and it should be super fast. And it's not like it'll probably take too long to kick out too, because he's going to be boosted. So even if you don't finish him turn 1 and they hit you, you're definitely kicking out because your Titans boosted everything. So Powerhouse or Hall of Fame, I feel like he might be my first go-to Hall of Fame option to level as far as a fighter standpoint. He's very good. Love Otis. I'm going to take him to gold. And mess with him to go with Gable, mainly for Showdown, right? But also because he's good. So I don't think Powerhouse got hit too hard by the changes overall, to be honest. I think they're relative to the field. I don't think it affects him too much. Does it hurt KO? Sure, because there's less trap gems. But does it kill him? No, not at all. Makes him a little more random because you lose those trap gems, but it's not the end of the world. So I don't think Powerhouse took too big of a beating. I feel like Striker probably did. Trickster wasn't great to start with, you know. Sika a bit, yeah, but not, I mean, still plenty usable, right? He's still going to hit super hard, low charge. Cesaro, the health steal is actually super interesting to me again now with that doubling up. That becomes pretty interesting to me again. You know, with getting 100% to the health steal. That could be fun, because that goes up a little bit too. So Cesaro gets kind of interesting to me again with the health steal buff. Especially because Tricksters are pretty bleh. Theory, not too many people have him. I got lucky there. Trickster, Ricochet, very good if you have stuff for him. I think Riddle, honestly, is going to be pretty solid. Pretty solid. Because you can also sub, if you want to control, you can go sub into the Bro Derek, into the floating Bro and recycle and stuff. So Riddle's interesting. There's so many build sets for him too. And once you get the trap, it's really fun. So I think Riddle's interesting for a lot of people. He's definitely one I could see a lot of people taking 6-star for their Trickster, assuming we start to get shards for him. So Trickster, I don't know that it necessarily goes much either way. You know, the top Tricksters were kind of doing their own thing anyway. Kali's probably the best at whatever. Yep, FOD. So it's really dumb that I haven't built mine. I'll check. Really dumb that I haven't built mine because I have the strap, right? The 50% purple gem damage strap from his event thing. And I have a purple running wild set. And I could throw Fury 2 on him. So it's really dumb I haven't built him, to be honest. Riddle, where'd you go? Yeah, he's chaotic. I think Theory's a great choice if you got him, just not very many people got him, so... I don't have a good reason, Tommy. I really don't. He should be leveled up. And then it's between these two now. Like, my Tricksters have just... So, actually, I can tell you why I wasn't working on it. Because I was having so much fun with Boiler and putting out the, you know, 4 of those and just killing your opponent and me and then healing back up. That was so much fun. I was just planning on taking him 6-star. just because I enjoy it and it's fun and Trickster's not like OP'd. But then now, you know, I only make one Juggernaut gem instead of 4. Sad panda. However, at 6-star, this is a 7 MP. Choose 6 gems. Showboat Cena adds 40-some% yellow gem damage. And the health steal goes up to 500k at 6-star. So that would be hitting for over a mil base with in feud. And maybe that would be fun, because I could just quickly do the choose move, into the bite, into the finisher. Probably not win turn 1, but I probably would win turn 2. And I'd still be able to play my Mankind. Maybe he gets a gear too, I don't know, that lets him put out more Juggernaut gems or, you know, something. I kind of want to take him up just because I'm a Mankind mark, and I really like this, his design overall. It's super fun. Maybe they'll give me a Juggernaut coach so I can have 2 or 3 Juggernauts again. Who knows? But that was the big reason. So I was going to level him. That's why, or use him. That's why I didn't bother with Trick Ricochet. And you can see how that worked out for me. You should never put your eggs in one basket. I say that all the time. You know, be diverse, do different things, have guys that do different stuff. So, and I definitely am going to take Warrior up. The only person I actually put an ultimate strap on to use. And it's only a 20%er. I do wish I had Tech Dawkins, so his Destroy was 4. So I could set off a few more options. But I'm thinking this is how I want to run him in feud. Because you can buff his gem damage after the sub, not before. So turn 1 would just be loading the sub, getting it to go off, blowing up the board, or you know, getting the X breaks everywhere. And then turn 2 is just going to blow up the board after hitting this as many times as you can. And then just set him up super offensively. Like gem damage coaches everywhere. Yeah, +2 FOD would be perfect. And I feel like that would be super big destruction. And just put, like, as much gem damage as you could all around here. All hard on him to buff 2 colors. Or Rhonda's jacket to buff 2 colors. Who cares, because you're blowing up the board. And then just choose 3 X breaks, and that should set the whole board off. After doing as many one blue, 1 reds as you can without blowing up the board, to buff your gem damage too. I feel like you're going to win probably most of the time with Warrior. Even better if you had a high gem defense strap. But, yeah. I think him and Dom are going to be very comparable. Showdown feud, both very good. I think Dom a little bit faster. Warrior a little bit maybe better for Showdown. Maybe. But I think they're both great options. Hurricane is actually pretty interesting, I think, with the 6-star move. It lets you kind of cycle a bunch of stuff with the reds. Increase your blue MP by 1, so you can throw the leeches out, and then that would go in here. So you can put the leeches out, and then you can turn them red. And they get quite big. So if you had a gem defense strap for him, I could see that being really good. Just cycle this over and over. The red gems with the leeches should hit fairly hard. And predictably hard, right? So a gem defense strap, double armor, doesn't nerf the leech gem damage, so you just count on that to get good pins. Nice, Tommy. I think you'll be happy with him. I think he'll be a great choice. So honestly, I think Acra has a lot of good options. Jay is super good, obviously, at 6-star. He's a high shard count. So for shard people, you know. staying away from those multiply guys, the more common ones, you know, like Jay, Hurricane, Warrior, Dom, I think would all be super, super good options that a lot of people might have access to. And the shard count ones, you know, Hurricane and Jay, you should have a bunch of shards for, you know. I need to get that video done, though, on him for everybody. Nakamura, I've heard, is pretty solid. I haven't actually played him, but I know a few people have taken him up to 6-star. I don't know. I haven't looked into it personally, but I've heard he's solid, too. And a high shard count character for a lot of people. Shelton, I don't know. Post-nerf, I think the Pyro Gem situation is same as Juggernaut. Special gems, that's going to really hurt that build set, right? So we'll have to re-look into that at Acro. Showboat, of course, it's the all Gable all the time if you have him. And then after that, I don't know, maybe Lashley. So he doesn't really take a hit when everyone else does. So relative to the field, I think that kind of brings Lashley back, if that makes sense. When you're talking about sometimes needing more than one turn, even if he doesn't finish you, he's going to recycle it. So I think Lashley is a pretty solid shout, especially considering he has gear floating around. So maybe, you know, you get a chance to upgrade him, sort of thing, if you have his gear, etc. You know? Howie, I did a big post on the forum about it. I thought 18 of 20 milestones was great. Thought the milestone rewards were not great. I thought the war score rewards were not great. I thought the faction event was not great. I thought it's the worst feud event we've had in over a year. And I saw no reason to go to 40 million whatsoever. I went to 25. It took like 4 hours, and I feel like the 2 hours it took to go from 10 to 25 was a waste of my time. And I wouldn't have, if I had it to do over, I just would have stopped at 10. But I did want to give myself a chance for a good ultimate strap, so I can't complain about that part. That was my choice. I knew I'd likely get a bad one, but I decided to risk it anyway. It was a zero spend weekend for me too. In an easy zero spend weekend. Very easy. I think RK Bro is going to be, if you got him, should be really good. The nerf to Juggernaut special gems, I don't think is going to be too big a deal for him, because he's still making 4. Still 200% on those. So I feel like he's pretty okay. Yeah, FOD. Oh, that's terrible. They sold the steps after they said they weren't gonna. That part was terrible, 100%. And then unique wins going from 100k down to 60 on top of that. That was both really trashy. Did not care for at all. Poor, 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 poor. That was not cool. Again, talking about people getting nerfed and not nerfed. Steamboat doesn't get affected by new perks, so relative to the field, he picks back up. Now that the game takes a little bit longer again, I think Steamboat is back to being an extremely reliable tech for a lot of people. I didn't either, Mayo. I didn't buy anything. Zero spend. Easy zero spend. So I think Steamboat better easily than Snoop now. Maybe if you had Snoop's gear and you can run the green gem damage setup, you're fine. Otherwise, no. Poor Snoop took it on the face really bad. Not only did the bleed go away a little while ago, the bleed perk, now with the sub perk going away, Snoop probably hurt one of the worst as far as the guys go. So every once in a while, Sapper. This weekend was an ugly look. Iron Sheik, if you had his gear, I think would be amazing. I don't have his gear. Yeah, Riddle is absolutely viable. Riddle's a great choice for a ton of people. 100%. I think he's a great option. You can showdown with him too. I wouldn't rush any of your 6-stars until you start struggling. The longer you wait to make a decision, the better off you are. There for sure are some that are going to be clear-cut good choices, but at the same time, if you don't need to take anyone 6, I would hold off, right? Until you do. So especially if you get one 6-star that can cover your bases for showdown feuds, so you're not struggling. Do not rush your next ones, because I think, you know, I still think we're in a state of flux and change, and we don't know what's going to happen where everything settles down. Maybe they go to rotating perks, you know what I mean? And it'll be harder to make choices. Who knows? Maybe line bonuses start to vary more instead of just your standard normal line bonuses. I think Ford is a really safe pick as well. If you don't have Gable, I think Ford would be a super safe pick. Yes. Tech Triple H would be my 6-star tech pick. This is assuming, especially if you didn't get the gear for Razor. So no gear Triple H, no gear Razor, 6-star Triple H all the way. Especially with the feud perks. Triple H doesn't care about the feud perks at all in any way, shape, or form. He also has a ton of different setups. The benefit to having a bunch of those different setups is, depending on what happens in the future, makes him more usable because he can adapt better because there's multiple setups. Without multiply perks, Razor is still very good if you have his gear, but he's more restrictive. I think Triple H is the safer pick long term, smarter pick, and also most people aren't going to have Razor's gear. And Triple H has gear too. I think Triple H with his gear is also nutty, so if they both had gear, that brings back to another discussion. That would be quite interesting. You know what I mean? So there's that. Also, I'm going to call that a stream for today. We'll talk a ton about feuding. We'll get really in-depth on my stream tomorrow. And I'm actually going to raid my stream, and because there's somebody I want to raid. I want to raid Mia Yim, because she's streaming. And I'll raid my stream, and then we'll raid her, because I'm not sure if, since she's not WWE signed, if I should do that. So hang around if you want. We'll raid my stream, and then I'll raid over there real quick. Because that'll be kind of fun. I've never seen her stream, so if you want to, you know, hang out. If not, that's fine too. Appreciate you guys being on today. A little bit slower day. But yeah. It's going to be interesting as these perks shake out. It's actually... I know a lot of people don't like it. I do. Because so many more people are viable than just clicking a sub one time and calling it a day. And I feel like way more people are usable today than they were yesterday. Meaning not yesterday, but before perks, right? Like, you don't necessarily get slaughtered on turn 1. Using some strategy, choosing who you face, using your MP down coaches, these things all matter more now. And if you do that, it really doesn't slow you down very much, you know? Yeah, the shard issue is definitely a bigger, you know, there are other things that are bigger issues than the perks themselves that hopefully, in my opinion, that hopefully get fixed much, much sooner. Then we can maybe talk about, like, rotating perks might be fun. I think rotating line bonuses would be fun. Like, if you want, feud should, like, if you wanted to keep feud fresh, start rolling out line bonuses for, like, mid-tier characters, right? Like, people that were good and maybe now aren't. You know, you want to roll out a line bonus for IOWs, for example. That gives you an incentive to use them. Give them, like, some plus MP, give a huge feud bonus perk to war score, so people have a reason to use them to make up for the fact that they might be a little bit slower. You know, come out with a specific line bonus maybe for zombies, so you're using your zombies. A gender line bonus, perfect example of what I'm talking about, actually, Southside. And you know what they could do to make money? That wouldn't hurt. Like, so a lot of people are like, Mherex, why would you say put a line bonus with a huge war score for the free-to-play characters? That's just stupid. Okay, but you imagine if you did that and then sold 5-star fuses, so the spenders would have something to buy. You sell a 5-star silver fuse for 50 bucks, 5-star gold fuse for 100 bucks. You know they would buy those up. 100% would buy those up, and then for free-to-play players that leveled up those posters and people that want a different, unique experience, hey, everybody wins. That's the way I look at it. But, you know, that's how I'm looking at it. Like, situations that everybody wins. These are things to consider. Like, I wouldn't buy the fuse up, but you know a bunch of people would. And at the same time, with a war score boost like that, I'll find a way to make it work. You know? Give line bonuses on top of it being restricted, Bizzo, if that makes sense. Yeah, Bob, but the problem is, and here's the problem, if they don't do something to keep feud fresh, there's literally gonna be no reason to feud. Like, I mean, from a fun factor, pretty soon, like, all you're gonna have is the people playing that pay and no one else. And that's not healthy too, because the people that pay need somebody to beat up on, or it's not fun for them, because then they're only beating up, they can't beat up on the other people paying. So they have to do something for a bigger part of the player base to enjoy the game. Oh yeah, trust me, I'm aware. And feud being stale and the exact same thing for how many years now, I think is part of the problem. So I think playing with that and trying to get to a point where people are having fun with the game again is worth it. Maybe the vast bulk of the community would hate it. I don't think they would. Give a line bonus. Like, I'm not saying every feud that, Bob, but throw that out there to try. Have another one where it's chase cards are the line bonus. Like I said, do a zombie-themed one. Give specific bonuses to zombies that aren't as good. That might be, like, give 1000% silence boost to Stone Cold and bring out stuns again for a feud. Anything to try something new to change it up. Yes, that all needs to be addressed. First and foremost, which is why I said that 100% on the forum. Anyway, I'm done streaming. We can go into it again a bunch tomorrow. I do want to raid Medium, so I'm going to raid myself and then raid her. So stick around if you want to join that. I've never seen her stream. But yeah, I'm happy to go on a full-on, mostly stream rant tomorrow about all that stuff. I was surprised. I was planning on doing that today, but we didn't get, no one bothered to ask about it, so I was all prepared for that. But no one bothered to ask about it. Because I have lots to say on the weekend event in general, as it was horrible for multiple reasons. And hopefully it'll be addressed. Hopefully a lot of people post on the forum, coherent, good stuff. Absolutely, McManamy. And I want to talk a bunch of feud stuff, new feuders, because there's a lot to figure out. So we're going to be busy the next couple weeks.